So it's been more than 1 year since I've stopped drinking, and today I want to tell you why, and at the end of the video I'll tell you how. We're going to talk about some changes, so let's go. Oh, and before I start this video, I should say I am not here to sell you anything. This video isn't sponsored. I am not here to tell you how to live your life or what to do. All I want to do today is go over what it was like not drinking for over a year. So now we can go. So I think the first big change that I saw, and the first big change that I think a lot of people expect to see, is weight. I did lose a lot of weight. Back when I was drinking, I was walking around at something like 84, 85, probably 86 kg, depending on how much I ate that day. And it was too big for someone my age and height. But now I'm around 79 kg, so I've lost around 5 or 6 kg just from cutting alcohol out of my life. That's about 11 pounds for my American friends watching. And I should also say that is without changing my diet or my lifestyle at all. I still eat the same things I ate before. I still exercise the same ways I did before, just without alcohol. That's where the weight loss came from. And it wasn't really how I expected it to be. See, when you drink too much, you gain weight in areas that you wouldn't really think of. You get fat in like your neck and in your face, and like all the nooks and crannies of your body start to build up. Like you just look bigger, you look puffier, you look inflated. And so when I stopped drinking, I lost weight in those kind of nooks and crannies. I kind of deflated. My face looks thinner, my neck is thinner. It's just like weird places that I started to lose weight. And I say that's without changing my diet. I would actually argue that it got worse, because although I've been able to cut alcohol out of my life, I've seemed to have come away with a bit of a sweet tooth. See, here in Taiwan, people love bubble milk tea or different kind of fruit drinks like mango milkshakes and stuff like that. Or they've got different desserts with condensed milk, and I love that. I can't get enough of it. So although I've been able to stop drinking, I eat too much sugar. So my diet's probably gotten worse, and I've still lost all that weight. And the second thing I definitely started to notice, and one thing you would probably expect, is money. Back when I was a teacher, I had a salary and I was making money every single month, unlike I am now because I'm a full-time YouTuber. People know that living in Taiwan is a lot cheaper than it is in the West. That's very much true, but you know, drinking too much or drinking too often can really put a massive dent in the amount of money you have at the end of every month. And I was blowing like all my money because yes, you can go to a grocery store, you can go to Costco, you can buy alcohol in bulk and you can get a bunch and it can be a bit cheaper that way, but then you're left with the problem of always having it in your house and you end up drinking more than you otherwise would have. But I didn't even bother doing that. I would just go to 7-Eleven and spend all my money on booze, or I would finish my work and I would go get a bunch of ingredients at a grocery store, come home and cook and drink while I cooked and having myself a little party upstairs. I was spending a lot more money than I realized. That's not even without mentioning if you go out, like you go to the pub or you go to a restaurant with your friends and you order some food, you could rack up a crazy bill. And it's really difficult to save money when you're doing that. And so when I stopped drinking, I stopped spending money, and I started to notice that at the end of every month, I just had more money left over from my previous paychecks without even trying. I wasn't actively saving money. It really shocked me. And I didn't write a budget. I didn't write down my spending. I wasn't like downloading an app to keep track of my cash or anything like that. Back in my mind, I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to drive a motorcycle in Taiwan. I've had motorcycles before in the past, like when I lived in China, but they were all kind of crappy, secondhand, falling apart pieces of garbage that, you know, were fun, but they weren't really mine. You know, I never had like a new one. I've been kind of eyeing the Honda CB350 for a while. It's kind of a gray market import bike here in Taiwan. I loved the way it looked. It wasn't very fast, but it was kind of my style of bike and I kind of wanted to get it. It was about like 150K, but I wasn't really taking it seriously because I don't know, I guess for some reason I thought that all that money would disappear somehow, like something catastrophic would happen, but it didn't. Then I started to realize if I just hold off for a few months and maybe move some money around from what I'm making on YouTube, I could probably get an even bigger bike, the Honda Rebel 500, which was something I really liked, but it was so insanely outside of my price range. I thought there was no way I could get it. So I decided to hold off making any major purchases. Lo and behold, without even really trying, all of a sudden I had enough, and guess what? I got it. I bought the bike. Now, if you are living anywhere outside of Taiwan, or if you're at all familiar with motorcycles, you know that this is an entry-level motorcycle. It's not expensive, but here in Taiwan, we pay a disgusting amount of import taxes. And so this was a major purchase for me. This was a lot of money. And so I was really shocked that I was able to buy it, and I'm really happy I did. I'm in love with this motorcycle. I love riding it. I love looking at it. I love touching it. I love talking to people about it. It makes me feel so good to ride this, and I wouldn't have been able to do that unless I stopped drinking. You know, those two things are kind of physical, you know, money and weight. But the third thing that's changed for me is my outlook on the future. I think a lot of people ask me when they find out that I don't drink, like if my personality has changed, or if I've like unlocked a new personality trait that was hidden or something like that. And that's not the case. That hasn't happened. But what has changed is my outlook on the future. It's a lot brighter now. Back when I was drinking, like I was really down on myself, really negative, kind of down in the dumps. Everything was very foggy. I wasn't really like having any like future plans, at least in the long term. It just wasn't viable to me. I could like see myself on the podcast that me and Alan have. You can check it out in the description below. But I used to like really not believe that I could get to where I wanted to be. I mean, I always had this dream of running this YouTube channel full time, being an entrepreneur, making my own money, having my own schedule, being my own man. And I just really didn't see that as a real possibility back then. Now that like I'm not drinking, I find myself being a lot more positive. And I think it's like because since I haven't drank, like all these really good things have been happening to me. Like I got my APRC and became a permanent resident of Taiwan. I was able to buy this motorcycle. I ended up becoming a full-time YouTuber, and like just event after event after event that were so positive just kept happening. And I've been like over the moon with my changes, and now it feels like if I have a goal or if I have something I want to do, I can just go and do it. It's not such a big hurdle. It's not such a big deal anymore, and the future's a lot more clear. Before, it felt like I was kind of flying an airplane through clouds and none of my instruments work. So, but now it's just a lot more clear, and it's probably my favorite change that's happened. I'm really pleased with it. I'm really, I just enjoy that part of my life. It's just not being so negative all the time about the future. And it's definitely changed like my outlook on where I'm going with my life. And the fourth thing that's changed, I guess, is my energy levels are a little bit better. You know, back when I was teaching, I really loved my job, but the mornings were kind of rough, you know what I mean? I had to have my coffee, I had to sit the kids down, we had to have like a chat first and just like slow the mornings way down, which was great. I had a great group of kids, and so like they were pretty good at like being pretty calm and kind of getting a better understanding of what's going on in the day without bouncing off the walls. But I found like, I don't know, there were times when I couldn't keep up with them. Like if you have kids or if you work with kids, you know that just have like an endless energy supply, and it's really hard to keep up with them. You got to kind of really make sure they use all of their energy before they go home at the end of the day. And I found it really hard to keep up with them. And I was like, you know, this isn't fair to them. It's not even fair to me. And I felt like I had to make a change so I can be there for them a little bit more. And it was definitely a lot easier getting to work. I wasn't waking up kind of groggy. I wasn't feeling lethargic or feeling apathetic or like I wasn't all there. I definitely had myself like collected and ready for the day. And it's really nice having more energy, and I can get more stuff done in the day because I'm not wasting time anymore. It's like, it just saves so much time. I have so much more freedom with my schedule. That's a crazy looking motorcycle. I think it's only 150 cc or something like that, but the way he rides it looks so comfortable. But like, I haven't changed myself completely. Like, I'm still a pretty calm, introverted dude. I'm not bursting full of energy. I'm not jumping out of bed or anything like that. I just feel like it's just a little bit better, you know? It's you just feel a little less shitty, I guess. And the fifth thing that's changed for me is probably my hobbies. I've gained some and I've lost some. One of the hobbies I lost was cooking. And I have no real good explanation for this. I'm not entirely sure how this happened or why it happened. But I've spoken to other people who have stopped drinking who also used to like to cook, and they said the same thing. For whatever reason, they just lost the interest in it, I guess. And I think it might be because of like, just because cooking and drinking go so well together. Like when I finished work, I used to love to go to the grocery store, buy a bunch of ingredients, get myself a bottle of wine, and then go home and cook myself a nice meal and have myself a little party. I loved it. But now that I'm not
drinking anymore. I just don't really feel like going to the grocery store, getting the ingredients, cooking, cleaning, do all the stuff in between, when I can just go on Uber Eats and order from a restaurant that I can make stuff better than I can. So that's a weird one. Hobbies I've gained, I think, is like exploration, or the willingness to go out and do stuff and see new things. Before, I didn't really want to do any of that. It just felt like it was kind of a waste of time. But now I'm a lot more willing to go out and see new things and try new stuff. And I want to take this motorcycle to different cities and explore it and share that with you guys in videos. But I want to do it with friends, right? Because it's obviously it's a lot more fun to do it when you have people with you. So lately, instead, I've just been exploring locally, and I go for walks like every single night. And I've actually started to live stream them to share with you guys. I do that every single week. And if you're interested, if you want to join, just follow me on Instagram at Prozzy_SR, and that's where I'll let you know when they'll happen, because of course I don't have a schedule yet, and so I don't know when they're going to happen. So if you follow me there, you'll be able to find out when that's happening. But yeah, like exploring and getting out and doing stuff is great. I really like that. But some hobbies I've weirdly kept. Like I still go to bars with my friends, which is weird because I don't drink. I'll have a Coke, or I'll have a Sprite, or a glass of ice water or something, and they'll still have beer, right? Because my friends still drink. It's only me that stopped. And I still like going out and having a bit of nightlife and spending time with my friends. And it's kind of weird when I show up, because people are like, you don't drink, what the hell are you doing here? But my friends have been great. Like, I had a lot of fears when I thought about not drinking. I was kind of worried that maybe my friends wouldn't want to hang out with me anymore, or they wouldn't invite me out, or I'd be a little excluded, because one of the things we loved doing on weekends is going out and having a beer and relaxing. And I was worried that because I didn't drink that maybe they wouldn't invite me out, but they still do, and they still include me, and I feel I'm just so lucky to have them, and I really appreciate them for that. And it's a really great way to know like who your real friends are, right? Because if they stop inviting you out, or if they stop hanging out with you, or they kind of avoid you because you're not drinking, then they weren't really your friends in the first place. So I really like that I can still go out and enjoy my time, and I just don't drink. And like looking back now, all those fears just feel so silly to me now. Like I was worried that maybe I wouldn't like be creative anymore, or it wouldn't be as funny, or people wouldn't like me, and it's just so silly. Because part of the reason I drank was to kind of boost my creativity a bit. Like I would get home from work, I'd be kind of tired, I didn't want to work on a video, I had to edit, I had to come up with something funny or creative or interesting or entertaining to say, and it was difficult. And so I'd have a few drinks to kind of loosen up and think of something witty to say, and then I would edit and have myself a little party, have a little good time. And I kind of relied on booze for that a little bit, but that didn't happen. Like I still really like making videos, and I think that they're actually better now that I'm not drinking. And so looking back, it just feels so silly. But anyways, those are 5 things that have changed for me since I've stopped drinking for over a year now. I would say there are some negatives. I don't know if I can actually call them negatives, but one of the things I've noticed when I do go out and I meet someone new, or someone I don't really know that well, and they're like, oh, have a drink, or they'll oh, cheers, or something. I say, oh, no, thank you, I'm not drinking. They'll say things like, oh, boring, or like, why are you here? Or why, they'll say these kind of things that are kind of like, it makes me realize that they don't actually care about meeting you. They don't care about talking to you or finding out who you are. All they want to do is drink. It's the alcohol is the reason they're there, and not you. And it just kind of sucks that people think I'm boring just because I'm not drinking. And the other thing too is that people, for whatever reason, seem to feel really insecure when I'm around them. Like everyone else is drinking and I'm the only one not. And they feel like I'm kind of judging them in a way, because they're all kind of doing this naughty thing. We're all drinking, we're all saying things or doing things we otherwise wouldn't. And because we're all drinking, it kind of makes it okay or acceptable in some weird way. And so when I'm there not drinking, it looks like I'm sat there judging them, or I'm able to see them in more of a clear way. And I don't like that, because I don't want people to think I'm judging them, or I don't want them to feel insecure. I just want everyone to relax and enjoy it. And just because I'm not drinking doesn't matter. But for some reason, people just like, they'll bring it up a lot. Like, oh, this sober guy over here, or this non-drinker over here. It's like all people talk about around me. And that part kind of sucks, because it's like, to me, not drinking isn't a really big deal. I just want to be a normal person that doesn't drink, and not have it brought up all the time, or not have people comment on how boring it is that I don't drink. And that's part of the reason I didn't film this video in a way, like, I kind of thought it would be better if I could do, okay, this is what it's like after one day not drinking, and this is what it's like after 1 week, and 1 month, and 6 months, and etc., right? But I didn't film it like that for a good reason. I didn't film it that way because I didn't want to think about it. I just wanted to stop drinking and not have to worry about it and just be a regular dude who doesn't drink. I didn't want to be someone who's like a recovering alcoholic or someone who's sick or someone who has a disease. It's not, I'm just a dude who doesn't drink. I didn't want to make it a big deal, and so I didn't film it that way. And that's the way I wanted to be like when I go out. Although, you know, I have to obviously accept that I'm in a bar where everyone is drinking, so obviously people might feel a little bit weird. But I would say that's one kind of negative, although it doesn't affect me that much. I don't really care that much, but I think if you guys are interested in not drinking, it's just something to maybe look out for, because that's one thing I just didn't expect. And so finally, I told you guys at the beginning of the video, I would tell you how I stopped at the end of the video. And I had a very good friend of mine who I used to drink with all the time. And he told me one day that he stopped drinking, and that blew my mind. I almost didn't believe him, because me and him used to booze together hard. And I was like, how can this guy stop drinking? And so I asked him, and he told me he read a book. And immediately my heart sank, because I was just like, I was just being really cynical about it. I was like, God damn it, like a stupid self-help book, like that's gonna work on me, you know what I mean? Like I just didn't really think that it was gonna work for me. But him being the good friend that he was, sent the book to me, and I read it, and I haven't touched a drink since. It's been magic. And the book is called The Easy Way to Control Alcohol by Alan Carr. And again, I want to reiterate, I am not affiliated with the publisher or the author or anything like that. I am not benefiting financially from or in any way from telling you about this book. I am not here to sell you anything. I don't want you to feel like I'm being condescending or I'm judging or anything like that. That book helped me. That's what I read. It helped my friend. And so if you're thinking about drinking, or maybe you have a friend who's having a tough time with it, check it out and maybe it'll help you. Who knows? It worked like a friggin' magic trick to me. And I feel like if I could stop drinking, then you could definitely do it too. So anyways, we're pulling up to this car wash so I can get this bike nice and clean. Trying to get this bike to feel just as fresh and as nice and as new as I do. But anyways, that's it for me, guys. Stay positive, keep a stick on the ice. Catch you guys next week for another video.